Yo, what's going on? Welcome to the client interview slash case study. I'm glad you decided to click on it because I think you're going to get a ton out of this video. Today, I'm going to be interviewing my client, Aiden Leon, who in just 4 weeks, I helped take his personal brand on Instagram from a couple thousand followers to well over 20,000. But more importantly, I helped him build the basis of his online fitness coaching business that in 4 weeks following that, generated over $10,000. Now, before you watch the interview, I do want to preface this with a few things. So first, let me introduce myself. What's going on? My name's Max, and for the last year, I've been helping aspiring or current online fitness coaches build or scale their online personal fitness brand and coaching business. I've generated over 100 million views for my clients and well over 6 figures in revenue, and today like I just said, I'm going to be interviewing one of those clients. Now, let's address the elephant in the room. This video is an hour and a half long. So please set up your phone, your laptop, whatever you're watching this on, and get comfortable because there's a lot to unpack. Now, I want to preface that this interview is not going to be like most. I promise I'm not going to sit here with Aiden for over an hour and ask him why I'm so great and why I'm so good and why I helped him so much and how much money you can make if you worked with me. This is a true insight into somebody who did very well working with me, and I assure you, you're going to get a lot out of it. Not only will you get an hour-long interview with Aiden, though, at the end, you should definitely stick around because there's a 30-minute bonus section where I break down the content funnel that we used to grow his personal brand and how I helped him use it to generate the traction we needed to build a successful coaching business. Now, with that being said, enjoy the interview. All right, what's going on? My name is Max Hagan. I'm the owner of Muscle Media Management. I help online fitness coaches start or scale their online fitness coaching business. And today I am here with my client, Aiden. So, Aiden, why don't you just tell us who you are, what you do, who you help, and what you help them achieve?
Yeah, bro. So now I'm a fully online trainer. But before I was working in person, working like 12 to 15 hours a day, and slowly made the transition after growing a social media account into online coaching. So now I get to work with some absolute studs. I work with a lot of guys who are busy, who are agency owners, info product owners, and realize they're out of shape. And I just help them get jacked and get the best shape of their life.
That's sick, bro. So, yeah, can you just give us like a general overview of your not even your fitness journey and where it branched into coaching and stuff like that?
Yeah, for sure. So mine really started in high school and wasn't doing anything with my life, was just kind of being a bum, partying a lot, playing a lot of video games, drinking, just kind of doing nothing with my life. But I always knew could achieve more and I had a higher potential. And so that led me into the gym, started working out, hadn't stopped since. I've literally never taken more than a week off. And people started asking me for advice. I made a transformation pretty quickly and I realized like, okay, maybe there's something to this. So I was in high school at the time. I was about to graduate, and people were always asking me for fitness advice. So I was like kind of the workout guy after going from nothing to something. And I remember telling people in my high school speech class that I was going to be a personal trainer when I graduated, and I got funny looks, and people were like, "What the heck are you talking about, bro? Like, go to college. What are you doing?" And so I went to college, and I was a personal trainer in person. Ended up making good money as a trainer in person. I was doing about 150 grand in revenue a year. I wasn't taking that home, but I was doing that in revenue, and was having a good time. But I was just tired of trading my time 1-to-1 for money, and so I wanted a form of leverage that would still allow me to be in the same position to help people, but would give me more of my time back and allow me to scale. So that's when I fell into social media, started posting every day.
Gotcha.
11 months later, here we are.
Here we are. So now looking back, right, is there anything that you miss about in-person training?
Um, I miss the people. I miss the connections that I made with the people at my gym. But as far as the mechanism itself, not really. I love being able to wake up and make content and get creative and then still service clients on the back end.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Do you keep in touch with any of those people, like at all? Did they ever ask, like, like where are you going or anything when you left, or is it not that personal? I haven't in person trained, so I don't know.
no, it's definitely very personal. Like you
Yeah,
train
I
a
was gonna
lot
say.
of, go ahead.
Yeah, no, I was gonna say it seems like you're with these people like probably once a week, maybe more. You're communicating with them, so it seems like if one day you transitioned online, I would guess a couple of them are gonna miss you.
No, for sure. I mean, my clients were really like family to me in person, and they still are. I still have great relationships with them.
That's sick.
They were all happy for me, like moving on. I had a client preside over my wedding. Like he was like
Wow.
one of my clients. So yeah, no, my
That's
clients are absolutely
awesome.
studs. I still love them all. I still talk to them a lot. So yeah, no hard feelings. They were all
Yeah.
super happy for
No,
me.
that's sick that they didn't give you. What about your I've heard this before. What about your boss? What did they think in person? Were they happy for you or were they kind of like, oh, there we of course.
Well, I mean, like, yeah, of course they're not happy. Like they have an employee going to move away and it's going to be,
Right.
it's not good for the business. They want me to stay in that circle and stay with that team. And, it just takes honest conversations like, hey, this is what I'm working towards, you know, no hard feelings. This isn't anything personal. It's just what I'm building. And it's
Mhm.
like people are either going to support you or they're not
Right.
if you're working towards something. And
Yeah.
so, yeah.
Yeah. So I know when you get trained to be an in-person trainer, I know there's certain tactics people are using for like floor scanning and like like obviously getting your own leads for that. Was there anything that you were able to take from in-person training or anything that they taught you there on the marketing end that you were able to go ahead and apply in a sense, maybe just through a different lens for your online coaching business?
Yeah, good question, bro. Definitely the sales aspect helped me out a lot. Like
Yeah.
learning how to sell in person for 3 years has definitely helped me transition into online. It was a bit awkward at first going on Zoom versus in person and having like a piece of paper and writing
I
everything
think I
down.
remember that you saying that when we first started. I think I remember when we started talking about sales, you just being pretty fine for the most part. I think it was just transitioning to like being on a computer.
Yeah, and not to say there's not more to learn because this I feel like the sales tactics online are a little bit different. And I say sales tactics, I just mean like the flow of the
Yeah.
conversation. It's a little bit different online versus in person, so that took some adjustments. But overall, like it's kind of the same thing, just running through Hermosi's closer framework. That's what I do in my head. That's what I did in person all the time.
Yeah.
And so that honestly helped me out a lot and kind of gave me a leg up. The other thing too is like the knowledge that you get from just human psychology and what
Mm-hmm.
how people actually behave in the gym
Right.
in person has helped me a lot. Has helped me service my clients way better. Knowing what movements they're probably going to mess up, knowing how to fix form issues, knowing how to
Sure.
fix if they get back pain or knee pain or
Okay.
whatever, and then knowing what like emotional pain points to talk to them about and to help them work through. Because you see, it's a lot more visceral in person. You see a lot of the stuff that they'll struggle with. Like I've had clients cry mid session and stuff in person. That's just not something you'll.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're a really great
Yeah.
online
I mean,
trainer, you'll have clients cry on the call. But I haven't
yeah.
experienced that.
I remember there was a video on your page that we kind of constructed together of I think he was in his 50s deadlifting like 500 pounds or something, or he was an older guy deadlifting like a ridiculous amount of weight. I don't know. Do you know who I'm talking about?
Yeah, Baron.
Yeah.
Baron's like one of my best friends.
Yeah.
So when he asks about am I friends with my clients, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, sweet. So, kind of on that topic of being able to utilize some in-person relationships for online, how did you go
Mm.
about that?
You mean leveraging in
Yeah,
just people I know in
being able to
person?
leverage like in person because I feel like a lot of in person trainers would never really think to market their in person, or sometimes the gym won't even let them.
For sure. So my gym is definitely one of those gyms, and I didn't really want to step on any toes and be like, "Hey, everyone, come join me online and
Yeah.
fill my bags." But I haven't leveraged anyone from my previous gym just because I want that to be their
Right.
revenue stream. And I have the whole world, I can work with.
Mhm.
But definitely, like, it's changed when I'm at the gym now. I just talk to people in the sauna, like, hey, like, if you're struggling with back pain, like, I can help you out, bro. Or,
Yeah.
I talk to people and I still pitch my services
Yeah.
in person
Gotcha.
and just, yeah, leveraging my circle that
Yeah.
way.
So what I was asking, I think a little bit more was like in terms of like client results and like testimonials, not
Oh,
saying
okay.
like, hey guys, come work with me, because that's like okay, bro, like you're taking away from the revenue stream, like that's kind
Yeah.
of iffy. But where's the boundary when saying, I've helped this group of people all, change, and maybe if I'm starting online fitness coaching, one of the most important thing is obviously testimonials, and I don't have those yet from online clients. How can you utilize in-person clients to do that?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, at the end of the day, it's kind of all the same. It's just high levels of accountability, whether you're in person or online. So
Mm-hmm.
making sure that's known, and then find like I don't know, find the way that your online avatar and your online clients can relate to
Right.
your in-person clients,
Yeah.
and then just build that connection there, and then market it. I mean, at the end of the day, if you've got results for somebody,
Right.
that's you should use that, in
Yeah.
my opinion, and that's helped me a lot. Just giving me a leg up and giving me a lot more rapport and credibility is having those testimonials built up and that experience in
Yeah.
person. Because people trust me more when they see a laundry list of results, and then I'm like, yeah, I've been a
Yeah.
trainer for 4 years. I've been a
Right.
personal trainer for 4 years.
Right. Right.
And
Right. So, kind of to wrap up that discussion, would you recommend maybe a younger coach or somebody who's getting into the field, right, who wants to start online, but is going to probably struggle a little bit to get their first clients online? Would you say that in-person training is a good route to kind of expedite that, or is it not even worth the time? So they just go right into online.
knowing what I know now, I could have just gone into online, but I don't think I could have done it without the experience I had prior. So
Okay.
definitely, if you're like 18, do both.
Yeah.
Like go into an in-person training job with the intention of being the number one guy, and then also build your social media on the back end,
Mm-hmm.
because in my opinion, that's the best way to do it. You're going to get the most experience, you're going to learn the most,
Yep.
and you're going to build a lot of rapport very quickly. And you're going to be doing cool things that you can tell stories about and make content about.
Yeah.
Versus the guy that's just like everyone else who's just like the jacked 18-year-old,
Yeah.
19-year-old, 20-year-old
Y-
who's like, I'm a coach now,
Yeah. Who
And
just
there's
had
nothing
like
wrong. There's
no,
nothing wrong with that as long as you can communicate that information effectively and get people results. But
you can just become another face in the crowd at that point. There's a lot of like influencers who, get big because they have a great physique at a young age. They're top 1% for where they are. But yeah, I agree, bro. That's sick. So what, at the end of the day, yeah, what motivated you to hop on a call with me when, you were getting with all this, like getting helped out?
yeah, for sure. I was just really, I didn't know how to launch. I didn't really even know how to launch the offer, how to fulfill, how to service, and how to market. As far as like lead generation goes, I knew how to make content decently well.
Yeah.
I knew how to grow my page for the most part. And then a lot of it was just like, okay, I don't know. I don't know how to grow. I don't know how to scale. I don't know how to get my first few clients from here. So yeah.
Got you, 100%. And what was this? Yeah, how would you? Because I know you technically didn't offer launch until probably four weeks of us working together, and that's something we can get into. But I mean, if you had to describe like the state of your business before us working together, other than non-existent, because you really didn't launch it online, I guess, how would you describe everything? Like where you were in the process?
Yeah, I just kind of scrambled. Like, had a lead mag going out here, like just had a bunch of stuff all over the place, but no like sales funnel that was actually directing, because I was getting a lot of attention, but I had no sales funnel to direct attention to a business. And so yeah, just kind of scrambled all over the place.
Okay, got you. And what did success look like to you when you came into working with me?
Just 10K a month. I
Yeah.
mean, to be honest, like everyone wants that 5-figure month. Like honestly, in my opinion, like everyone wants to hit that. And so it's like, if I can hit this, I just prove everything I think is true about myself wrong. I eliminate limiting beliefs, like all of that. So
Did you think you were going to?
I wasn't sure, but I was like, okay, if I'm unsure, I'm just gonna send it, and we're gonna see how far it goes. And yeah, I mean,
Because
I believed if I
yeah,
put in the work that the outcome would come eventually. Whether it
eventually.
was
Because
yeah,
you first month you did I think what did you do? Over a little over 10K, right?
yeah, 10.6.
10.6. That's awesome. Yeah, that's a pretty solid thing to be able to say. That your first month of pretty much, not your first month coaching ever, but your first month of online coaching, you just right off the bat, you ripped 10K. That's freaking sick. Do you
Yeah,
think, I mean, I think your organics obviously helped a lot with that. You had been building your page for quite some time. Did you notice at all that maybe before your offer, you were already getting people inquiring, like, hey, do you offer coaching? Like, blah, blah, blah. And it kind of was
yeah.
like all these people were just pent up waiting for the offer to drop. Or was it just like off the bat?
Yeah, I think to a certain degree, like definitely if you have pent up like followers, like your first month of launch, if it's done right, will be a 20. If I would have done it again, I probably could have done 20. That first month of launch, you'll just collect a
Mm-hmm.
ton of cash, which is
Yeah.
super cool. So yeah, I had been posting for 11 months before I launched my offer, just because I wanted to just
Mm-hmm.
focus on content and get really good.
Yeah.
And yeah, when I had some reels pop off, get 5, 4, 3 million views, like I had a ton of people asking me, "Hey, bro, like, do you do coaching?"
Mm-hmm.
Like, getting a ton of inbounds, but I had no way to fulfill or no way to funnel them to an offer. And
Yeah.
so, looking back, I was leaking dollar bills along the way because
Yeah.
I had tons of people who were asking me.
And
And
that's
so,
okay at the end of the day. You don't want to scramble something together to kind of collect, I guess, early if that makes sense. But you mean you know my kind of theology when it comes to like content before an offer drop. I'm big on, my first month of working with anybody, I don't even really touch business. It's just like, solidifying or building a lead pool. Because I think, like you said, if you do it right, you time it. It's like a slingshot. You can like pull that back and then boom, you launch that offer and it's all right there. So yeah, making content for you 11 months prior, I think, yeah, maybe going back with everything, you definitely could have cleared 20K, something like that. But yeah, bro, good stuff. Um, how would you describe your content process before working with me?
um, content wise, I mean, I was sticking to just the normal content funnel of like B-roll, high virality type reels,
Hmm.
and then posting a lot of transformational content, and then posting some deep value and a little bit of info content.
Got you.
Pretty
And
standard.
yeah, and do you feel like that shifted at all going in terms of reels, or were there more other shifts across the board in terms of like stories and stuff like that when we started working together?
Definitely the one difference that I made was posting more value-driven content
Yeah.
in addition to just gets clicks, gets views, builds audience. Building that value-driven content out, and then with stories, yeah, definitely CTAing more on the story and just emotional hook, call to action.
Got you.
Stories that's been cleaned up.
Yeah, sick. Yeah, I mean, I've been watching, I mean, I obviously watch your stories pretty frequently. And your story framework is pretty well done. The way, I think if you remember back to around, yeah, that first week of launch, one of the things that we talked about is you were saying like, yeah, like I'm reframing my avatar and the way I'm messaging to them. Do you want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, for sure. So, I mean, when I first started talking, making fitness content, I was talking a lot about like mobility and back pain and kind of like performance and stuff, which was stuff I enjoyed at the time, especially because I was
Right.
working with a lot of clients in person who were struggling with that. But it attracted a very young, like high school to college athlete type avatar.
Yeah.
And it honestly wasn't, number one, it wasn't really the avatar I wanted to work with. And number two, it wasn't an avatar that was sustainable, I think, long term for a business group.
Yeah.
And I'm saying that because I know guys who are like basketball trainers on IG and that they struggle with
Yeah.
that type of avatar.
Right.
Um, and so yeah, I just shifted and started making a little bit more mature content, targeting pain points and targeting guys who are, stuck at desk all day, launching info products, building businesses, doing whatever, and
Mm-hmm.
they don't want to waste a ton of mental bandwidth or waste a ton of
Yeah.
time trying to get in shape.
Yeah.
And they just want the facts and what works, and they
Yeah.
want the results and nothing else. So that's what I started targeting more
Okay,
of.
got you. So I know, I mean, really in any online business, whether it's, fitness coaching, info products, really everything, right? Everybody always says, okay, you got to niche down, right? I think, as more fitness coaches have come along, that's been something that it kind of just becomes this blanket term statement like, oh, okay, instead of just helping everybody, I'll do, I'll pick weight loss or I'll just pick this. What tips would you give to somebody? I mean, it seems like for you, right, you were able to find a great group of people and really take advantage of it. I mean, the way that you now message everything, the way that you indirectly, yeah, message. What tips would you give to someone who just is struggling to figure out that niche to be able to take advantage of because they just don't really know which direction they're meant to, focus on?
I would say like make sure you're the niche number one because I think at the end of the day, a personal brand is super powerful. And when
Yeah.
you're the niche, when everything about you is interesting and cool, like that makes your brand organically so much stronger and really builds a core audience of people that love you.
Hmm.
And then instead of like niching down, just have a unique selling mechanism. So have something that's different in your offer, a great guarantee, and something that is unique to your brand rather than just trying to niche down into like weight loss coach or like body transformation
Okay.
coach because there's like a million of those guys. Like you look at anybody's bio and it's like name weight
Yeah.
loss coach or weight loss expert
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
body
Yeah. Yeah.
recomposition expert. But I want to see like I care more about people for who they are and what their brand stands for. Like Hermosi, I couldn't tell you anything about, I really couldn't tell you much about his business tactics other than I know he's like a savant. But
Yeah.
I can tell you that he doesn't skip dessert and he's jacked and he does all this cool stuff. And I know that stuff, so I care about that. And then it makes me want to buy from him rather than like, oh, he has this really cool business tip or this really cool weight
Right.
loss tip. And then I'm going to find this stuff out on the back end.
Cool.
So I would say just being unique to you, building your personal brand having it show your interests, but also helping people come to a certain outcome or a specific solution to their problem through your unique mechanism is 10 times more powerful.
Got you. Yeah. So you mentioned something about providing information or like a business tip and stuff like that. And I know, I mean, everybody pretty much on Instagram or a lot of free game value, whatever you want to call it, on Instagram for fitness coaches pretty much just says, yeah, just dump out informational value based content, right? Just
Yeah.
like that's all you got to do. As long as you make, top three biggest bicep hacks, you're fine. Like, you just start making,
Yes.
value based content. Where's the separation between something like that, because there's a lot of people that just do that and are complaining like that this doesn't work, between that
Yeah.
and being able to stem out something that's you and connect with an audience.
Like you're asking what's the separation? Like how do you
Yeah, like I
define?
mean, how would you, if another fitness coach was here right now with us and they were like, I'm just all I'm doing is uploading educational fitness
Mm,
content, where's the difference between literally just making, those kind of educational reels and videos like that versus being able to, yes, make value driven content, but that stems from who you are, not just,
yeah.
okay, like yeah, here's the three like hacks and stuff like that.
Yeah, bro. I don't know about you, but well, I mean, I know this we're in a little bit different position just because you work with coaches, but when I
Right,
see
right.
accounts like that, I do not want to follow them. I'm just gonna be honest. When I see accounts
Yeah.
that's like the super optimized, like lifting, weight loss expert, da 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 da, I just don't want to follow them. And I hope they're doing well in business, but I think an easy way, like the most simple, basic way is like look at your like looking. I even do this with my account. Like I look at my account and I'm like, would I even want to watch this stuff, or would I even want to follow this guy, or would I even care if I saw this reel? That's
I
like the
think a
easiest
lot of
way.
people aren't honest with themselves on that. A lot of
Yeah,
people really aren't, and I used to use that for my all of my content. Like, would I listen to this? Like, do I get bored here? Is this annoying? Like,
yeah,
and I think not enough people are honest with themselves about their own content, and they just think it's good because it's them.
yeah, and they think it's good because it's value. But I think what I've noticed and what's really funny is like, okay, I'm gonna use this as an example.
Sure.
Like just in person when I was working and I'm still making reels, like I made a day in the life reel. And
Yeah.
like, did it help people like get in shape?
No.
Maybe because it showed
Yeah.
proof of lifestyle,
Right.
it inspired them. But like the amount of people that would talk to me in person or DM me that were like, bro, do you really sleep on the floor?
Yeah, yeah,
Because
yeah,
I made it.
yeah. Yeah, it was
You
like
remember
it
that?
was. Yes, I do. It was more top of the funnel lined. It was like getting people. It also attracted. I mean, when you were showing like your busy day in a sense, and that's a whole another topic to discuss. Like so many people are now trying to chase that whole like helping busy dads, busy owners, blah 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 blah. But when you showed your whole day like that, it was just like people inquiring who've never met you before, like oh, like this part of your day, this part of your day, and then yeah, that was pretty.
Yeah.
I remember that.
And so when I even bring up that reel, it's like you smile and you're like, oh, bro, I remember that.
Yeah,
Versus I
because
probably
you
posted.
had a segment of like you were responding to comments or videos, you were explaining why you did it. Like it became a piece of you that people like, oh, like that's he sleeps on the floor.
Yeah,
Yeah, with the whole red light system and everything. Yeah, I remember that fairly vividly. I think there's something to be said though. Like a lot of people really, I mean, across the board, not just fitness coaches who go like I hate to use the word, but like viral online, right? Like have some sort of like coined or like token about them that, they get known for in a sense that helps. Do you feel like that? I mean, obviously, I don't contribute all of your success to, for example, sleeping on the floor, but do you feel like, having like moments like that are, key to success online?
yeah. You need like a healthy mix of both. Like you need like people need to number one they need to like you, and then they need to know like
Hmm.
that you can provide information.
Right.
Like if you just are a teacher, like how much did you like your teachers in high school? I mean, you like dropped out of high school, didn't you?
Yeah, I did leave high school. Yes.
Like if you're just like a teacher, people are going to treat you as one, and like they're not really like
Yeah.
they understand you can help them, but it's like
Yeah.
who cares? And
It's,
and then if you're just there, if you're just posting like viral content and dancing like a monkey on TikTok, you're just a friend. And how much when you give your friends advice, how much they listen. But if
right.
you can be a friend and a
And a
teacher,
teacher. Yeah, I
exactly,
kind of
that's where
think
you
of,
really hit the
what I
mix.
kind of think of. I was watching something. It made me think of, the movie Alvin and the Chipmunks. And like,
Yeah,
so it's like, okay, no one's gonna listen to Theodore. He's just fat and like, whatever. So Theodore's nobody's listening. Simon thinks people should listen to him because he's like smart. But at the end of the day, people do listen to Alvin because like, yeah, he kind of has like street smart and a little bit of whatever, but he's more like likable because he's like a more likable character. He's not like scared to like, tell people what to do. And
yeah,
on that note of telling people what to do, Where do you think having more authority over people comes into play? Because I think a lot of people look at you and they listen to you. When you speak, they listen to you, and I think a lot of people struggle to achieve that.
I honestly I couldn't tell you, bro. That'd be something I have to reflect on. I think like the biggest thing is like like experience at the end of the day beats everything. Like Hermosi again talks about like confidence is like
Hmm.
just a result of years of experience.
Yeah.
Like just I don't know, to be honest, like just having that proof of lifestyle, having you know, showing people that you're winning, showing people that you're experienced, showing people that you care, I think above all else, like really helps out with that.
Well, I think yeah, and I think if I asked you to teach me, for example, about losing weight or eating right, the way that you would speak about that would be much different if I asked you to explain to me, okay, how do we like explore into space, right? Like, the
Yeah,
more that you know about it, you're going to be able to project that out in just the way you talk, and I think that's evident across your content. And I think
that's good work.
people are like really good at smelling out BS, whether that's sales calls, whether that's like in content. And I think
Mhm.
that's the one aspect of human nature where people can like sense that. Like if someone really knows what they're talking about or really believes what they're talking about. And I also saying like I know you're a Christian, right? In the way that you talk about your faith, like it's evident if like does he really believe that or is that just like something
Yeah,
that he just like kind of says?
that's a good way to put that, bro. I didn't think about it like that. Yeah.
I think you
Um,
froze up for a second. I don't know. Your face is just frozen.
I did. I don't know what's up.
Maybe. I mean, I can still hear you honestly. So as long as I can hear you, you're kind of just
Wait,
like kind of just sitting there. Yeah, that might work. There you go.
there we
There
go.
we go.
Let's go.
So yeah, that's kind of how I think about it, and how I talk to a couple of people about it. So and another thing I wanted to ask you. So you have a lot of great ideas in your content. You came up with a lot of good ideas just across the board, whether it was in those like B-roll videos, right? Or those like those we used to do those just like still based videos with all the text on them, just like to kind of like pop off and get a message, like with like the caps and stuff like that, the way you would just do those little text messages. What does your like ideation process look like, coming up with these ideas? Because a lot of people complain, or you have to rely on like even ChatGPT, cause they're like, I can't come up with videos because everybody makes fitness content, and I don't want to be like everybody else who does like the same stuff because
Yeah.
it's all like the same info. It's all the same info. It's all the same info. I hear people complain about that a lot. So how does that process look like for you?
Yeah, when I first started, I would go to accounts who were just doing really well, and I would like, I don't want to say steal, but I would just like rework their
Yeah.
content into my own spin. So that was like the first thing I did was I'd see reels that were doing well, especially those B-roll ones because those were doing really well at first,
Mhm.
and just kind of rework those into my content in addition to other pieces I was running. And then now, really, what I do is I just sit down in the morning and I'll kind of write down what I want to talk about and then I'll go back later in the day or whenever I make my reel and I'll rework it and do a hook. But
Okay.
I always have an idea I want to express to people, and then I start hook first, and then I build the content
Okay.
on the back end.
Do you script your videos for the
Sometimes,
sometimes?
like yes, I honestly more than anything, what I do, bro, is I script the hooks. So I make sure the
Yeah.
hook and I make sure like the first three sentences I'm going to say are just on point, like they're
Yeah.
exactly straight to the point. Great word economy, and then hook first. Hook takes like 80% of my time,
Okay.
uh, and then I just kind of freestyle.
Got you. Sick. Sick, bro. So yeah, moving on from that, kind of going back. I mean, you said you're the first goal. A lot of people, right, 10K a month. And when we joined, in 4 weeks, it was like 4 weeks later when we offer launched, and then 4 weeks from that, sure enough, we hit 10K. How did I help you achieve that?
Yeah, bro. Honestly, just holding me accountable to my goals and definitely giving me the process for like, here's what people have done in the past. It worked. Just do it again. Giving me that framework as far as like,
Hmm.
here's what it takes to fulfill. Like, here's what you should be doing. Like, where you need to be in the DMs, you need to be working. It should be like kind of a grind to get clients. And I didn't really understand that. I thought it was just like build the social media, get the views,
And they just
and
appear.
then yeah, then the money will appear in your bank account. It's like,
Yeah.
no, you really need a way to funnel them and to build out not only like fulfillment could have been whatever, but it was honestly more of just like funneling eyes into sales calls for me to close
Yeah.
was definitely the biggest help. And it was like DMs, story
Hmm.
CTAs, and then add a little bit more value in your content,
Yeah.
and that will help convert people a lot.
And how do you think, in terms of funneling people to calls? A lot of people will say, "Well, I feel like I can, but it's just never the right kind of person." How do you think we were
Mm.
able to get that consistently, the right kind of person on the sales call? Because I think you said a few times, like, if they're there, I can close, but they got to be the right person. They got to have the money, and they got to be someone like I can connect with, fitting that kind of demographic of who we were going for at the time. What helped get that right person in there every single time?
Yeah, I think definitely starting content first and making sure your messaging is strong in your content and people are really bought into you. And then definitely what's been helping me a lot has just been, nurturing them on the back end. So after the call's booked, they get an email sequence sent to them. I'm talking to
Yeah.
them still in the DMs, asking where they're from, just
Mm-hmm.
really nurturing them on the back end. And I've never really ever felt like I had the wrong person on the call. Like at the end of the call, if
That's
they
great.
didn't join the program, there was a reason that a concern I didn't address or something that was still holding them back that I didn't get to. So in a way, it's always my fault. I
Yeah.
could have helped them out in some way. So it's just figuring out how to do that. So I hope that answered the
No, yeah,
question.
that definitely does. Because obviously at the end of the day, it's like shifting through the DMs, and the right person should always be on the call. I think there's a lot of
Yep.
coaches who will quite frankly take calls with anybody and then wonder why their closing rates suck because they're taking calls with literally anybody who DMs them. And I think that's a kind of a desperation thing that stems from, maybe not having as many people reach out to you. Um,
Yeah.
I know one of the things that we had running up at one point, we had a great lead magnet with a free guide that I think ripped really well.
Yeah.
Do you want to dive into a little bit about what that looked like for you?
The lead magnet.
Yeah, when I think that was the free like test maxing kind of thing that we
Yeah.
put together, right?
Yeah. So yeah, just making content. Um, like about maybe like I don't know lifting or
Yeah,
about hormone optimization, something like that, and then just a strong CTA at the end, like DM me X, and I'll send you my full whatever guide. Collecting emails with that, and then it kind of
yep,
wiggles you into the DMs where you can be like, "Hey, bro, how'd you find the guide?
yeah,
Were you
yeah,
looking for anything specifically?" Da da da. So it's just a good way to not only provide, like I give it away for free in terms of just like doing right by your audience and giving them free value, but also like it's a good leg up to having that rapport and having that
yeah,
conversation starter where people can talk to you and then eventually it may lead to something
yeah,
or if not it's goodwill done
yeah,
and they'll stay in your
100%.
circle for a while.
Yeah, 1,000%. Within your free guide, I don't know if you want to give any tips on writing one. Was there any point within the free guide towards the end? I forget if we did this with you. Um, that you directly said like, I want you guys to go back and like message me like if you're interested in coaching, or did you just leave it as a free guide?
Yeah, so the beginning I just wrote it very simply because I figured like when I get free guides I don't want to read 50 pages. I just want to get
Yep,
the info and get out. Like I
yep,
literally want to open it, read it once and delete it.
yep,
And so in the beginning I was like, hey, here's me now. So just transformation picture and I look like a dork and then I look pretty jacked in the second picture, right? And I was like, if you want to learn how to look like this or lose da da da, click this link here. And I've had a few bookings and some
yeah,
sales
yeah,
come through, but honestly, more than anything, it was just about getting people that goodwill.
right.
And then as far as writing it, yeah, just keep it simple. Solve a specific problem that your like audience faces, and like really just go all out with the value. Like hold nothing back.
Yeah,
Yeah,
sick, bro. So now, I mean, it's December 17th. What do these next 12 months look like for you, bro?
yeah, dude. The new year's coming up, 2025. Dude, I want to do 100K rev in quarter one, and I want to slowly start consistently closing 30K months. I want to hit my first 20K, then I want to close 30K months.
Hmm.
Um, Yeah, I'm married now, so just gonna sit in this room and grind until I get there. Pretty much, I don't have a job anymore, so
Yeah,
I'm just gonna be here all day and work all day. And then yeah, just want to stay vertical in the fitness niche. Eventually, launch an e-commerce brand, a health e-commerce brand. Do a lot
sick.
of marketing for that, and do an electrolyte supplement
Like Santa Cruz,
and
bro.
probably another product. You
You're
said
like,
what?
I say you're like Santa Cruz, bro.
Yeah, that's honestly like he lives the dream, bro. That dude wakes up and like eats
Yeah,
steak, and
that's
surfs all
yeah,
day, and
exactly.
yeah,
He's
so that's
he's
that's
funny.
my goal with everything.
Sick. That's
Yeah.
awesome. And so I mean, offer launch was what, like August or September? I forget. Is it?
Mm.
I think it was or
Which month comes
mid
first? It was whatever month comes first. Was it September? I think it was September.
Au-
August.
August
No, it's
comes
September.
first.
September.
September. Okay. So
Yeah.
in the last 6 months, do you mind sharing what you've done to date, if you know that number?
Dude, I honestly don't know.
Because I think,
Um,
yeah, because if you did 10 and then the next month you did, I mean, I'm assuming it wasn't consistently exactly 10.6, but it was probably hovering.
no, in total revenue, probably around 30 to 30, probably around 30K, if
Okay.
I'm being honest.
Okay. So what, and in terms, yeah, so obviously, first month, boom, 10.6. I think you told me, I think, yeah, the next month you also followed up with that. As we approach the end of the year, did you see a direct correlation between people who are like, hey, I'm kind of trying to wait towards, January of 2025, or if not saying it, that's just kind of what's happening? Or what do you think accounted for, maybe you not doing 60 from now because it's like 10, 10, 10, 10, 10?
Yeah, honestly, it was just me, like more than anything, and I'm gonna be brutally honest, it was just me taking my foot off the gas. Like once you have that momentum, like don't
Yeah.
stop because if you take your foot off the gas and
You
you're
also got married.
like,
You got married and went on a honeymoon. So
yeah,
yeah, it's kind of
and like
important.
you gotta pull that slingshot back. Like I got too comfortable. I took my foot off the gas, and so now it's like okay, let me just rebuild from there. And so I mean, yeah, I haven't noticed anybody like really being like, oh, I'm gonna wait till the new year. I haven't encountered that yet.
Interesting.
Because I want to pretend like it doesn't exist because I didn't even realize it was
Yeah.
Christmas in 8 days. Like it's just not real. People just lie
Yeah.
to themselves.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's also too the people that we're aiming to work with are business owners who also don't realize that it's Christmas in whatever how many days, because they're
Yeah.
living in their own bubble. So starting in 2025 isn't a thing to them. So it's kind of interesting that you say because I have other coaches who are like weight loss coaches who work with the general population who aren't business owners who are buying Christmas gifts, aren't as financially stable, and are like, yeah, I'd rather wait till January 25 when another paycheck hits and when I'm not buying Christmas gifts, and also it's just easier to start on then because it sounds nice, new year, new me, blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
there's that aspect to it. So
I experienced that in person,
in person, yeah, that makes sense.
and it comes down to like, yeah, I mean, I'm sure you teach them like how to, if that's a smoke screen or how to overcome
Mm-hmm.
that. But yeah, that's frustrating. I remember getting that a lot in person. It's such a
So
frustrating.
I think this will be a really interesting question, kind of basic, but knowing what you know now, if you had to go back and do it all over again, what would you do differently?
Yeah, I wouldn't play around with my sales funnel as much. I would have figured out how to really optimize my sales funnel. If I had to go back and do like my you mean just my online presence
Yeah, just
again?
your online presence.
Dude, I would have kept post like I would really focus really heavy and not let my foot off the gas with content as well. I think that's why I'm not at 50K or 100K yet.
Yeah.
And so I would go really hard and get really, really, really good at content and just never stop and post every single day.
Mm-hmm.
And I would have launched sooner, especially because I had some higher points even than when I launched. I still launched at a pretty good time. I would have launched sooner, and I would have been after I launched. I would have sat down for that month and literally been in the DMs for like 6 to 8 hours a day, sending 50 a day, doing the work that I thought I could avoid, but now realizing like, holy crap, okay, this it doesn't matter what level you're at, you
No.
either win or you don't.
That's
Like you
such
have to
a
be
important thing, bro, because I think there's so many people like you could have easily had the ignorance to tell yourself like, oh, I'm getting hundreds of thousands of views, millions of views, and I have
yeah,
like 20, dude, I mean, you went from like 7,000 followers to like 20 something thousand followers, within the month of working on content here, like that. You could have easily told yourself like, oh, I don't need to do cold DMs or like, warm outreach or whatever, you making the manual process of reaching out. Because so many coaches genuinely think that they are in too good of a position to do that everybody should just, again, like appear and just be like, oh, I want coaching. You know what I mean?
yeah.
And it's just not the case.
Which to a certain degree it will, but it's like
Down the line.
but the guys that are there's still guys that are I'm always thinking about it like there's guys that are in better positions than I am that are still doing more than me. And
Yep.
I don't want to let them win because they're not smarter or better than me. That's like my thought
Yeah.
process. And I used to be scared to do warm outreach. Like I was like, bro, I'm just gonna be like it's like I'm gonna sound salesy and da da da, I'm gonna be a pest, whatever. But it's like, no, bro, if you just go in there and you're like, hey bro, appreciate the follow. Like, are you working towards anything or are you just here for the content? Like either way,
Yeah.
you either get a sale or you just
Or you get a
interview.
new engaging relationship with someone who's gonna
Yeah,
pour into
exactly.
you. So there's literally nothing bad that can happen out of it. Yeah, I think that's really interesting. You said that all about content. And now speaking about content, you've pressed into YouTube a little bit. You want to talk about that?
Yeah. Yeah, YouTube's fun, dude. I've just started a week. We hit 1K subs.
Yep.
My first video ripped like 20K views, so that was super fun. Dude, it's kind of like I'm exploring space right now on YouTube. It's like a whole new territory. It's like the Wild West, but no, it's really fun. It's definitely like the people on YouTube are a lot more mature. I know we kind of talked about it earlier, but it's
Yep.
like it's really fun the fact that I can just put my camera up like this and sit down,
For
and I'm going to do it probably
20
exactly like
plus
this right after
minutes.
this call
Yep.
and just yap. And people really engage with it if you post, engaging,
Yeah.
valuable, relatable content. I've noticed more than anything, people on YouTube want like a very relatable figure. They want
Hmm.
someone who's going to like speak to them like it's like a friend having coffee. They don't
Yeah.
want like a super edited YouTube video. They kind of want
Yeah.
this realness.
Yeah. Yeah. 100%. And I think that's something that now, I mean, hopefully with your Calendly, as we continue to shift through trying A/B testing different videos, that results. Have you seen? I think you've got a few bookings from YouTube so far, right?
Yes, it's funny. The night I made my VSL on YouTube, and I need to redo it. But the
Yeah.
night
Oh, the
after
slash.
I
Yes.
posted, yeah, like literally the day after I posted my VSL, I had some guy, one of my coaches in another group I'm in, hop on a call with me. He's like, "Bro, how much is your program I'm in?" Because he watched my VSL.
He
Literally the next
did
day,
the
woke up
VSL on
2K
YouTube.
close.
Yeah, the VSL on YouTube was a great move. What tips would you give to someone? Because I know a lot of people now. The idea of like creating a VSL, and I think it's like that VSL. The word VSL is thrown around so like loosely because it's
Yeah,
like a true VSL is a physical landing page with a video,
yeah,
like with a domain. But there are people that now are making VSLs with just like in a YouTube video, using some sort of like link grabber to understand who clicked on that link, smack it in their bio, and then
yeah.
create it. You created a really great, what I thought, and I can even, you guys can find it on his page at the end of this video, a great VSL that was a long slideshow. What was your, mindset going into that, creating that framework of how you were going to approach the VSL?
Um, Yeah, I wanted to I didn't want to like disguise it as like, oh, this is not actually a VSL, but I wanted to talk about my story. I wanted to talk about who I could help and how I could help and just really set the frame of like, hey, here's who I am, here's my story, here's what I do,
Mm-hmm.
here's who I can help, and if you're in this position, here's exactly what you need to do. So either way, they get free value watching it, they learn more about
Yeah.
me because people like stories and they like value. And then at the end, I was like, hey, I'm sure you've been struggling with this for a while. Just boom, call to action. Just
Yeah.
really simple framework. Honestly, like going back, I kind of want to redo it because I want to clean some areas up and talk a little bit more about my
Yeah.
story, just especially after the feedback I'm getting on my page. But honestly, like I was trying to do so much on the back end, like, oh, I make this fancy VSL and this really like
Yeah, I
crazy
think you got a
funnel
little bit
and a
of
bunch of
like
leads.
shiny object syndrome almost.
Yeah,
I remember that.
exactly. When it's like, bro, I'd probably make 5 times, 10 times the money if I just
Just from the
posted my
organics.
reels
I
and
think
got my
that's the
DMs
thing.
and posted my
I
stories.
think now everybody, like you see in coaches, smaller coaches struggling. I want you to listen to this. Like everybody sees like ads and other like mentors and people, and there's nothing wrong with that. But seeing people talk about this new system, this new funnel framework, this new ad, right, that you can run and then people will apply. But I think there's so much room to just organically max out your points before you move into
Yeah.
any of that. Because dude, you didn't really have anything fancy when you did 10K your first month, 10.6K first
Oh,
month.
it was like
It was literally
caveman hunting,
just,
bringing
yeah,
sticks and
literally.
rocks.
And I think it's so interesting that so many people too, like I don't know if, I mean, I guess there would have to be some sort of study done on this to just make a bold claim that I'm about to say, but there's got to be some sort of direct correlation to when someone is seeing just pure organics, great story structures and sequences and messaging, a good sales, like just great, being good at sales and doing well, just, yeah, like caveman style, right? Like bare bone basics. And then saying, okay, in order to do better, I have to implement all these fancy things. And if you have this like raw, personable audience seeing a dip in sales, I think that's something like, if your whole audience is so used to you being this like just, like caveman style, like raw bare bone basics kind of guy, and then all of a sudden you start throwing up like webinars, sales funnels, ads and stuff, there's got to be some sort of thing that shows that's like, there's a little, you got to be careful.
For sure. I would agree. And even if you just think about it from like a simple number standpoint, bro, it's like, bro, if I post a VSL, I'm not expecting to get 10,000 views.
Yeah.
If I post a VSL, I'm going to get probably and for most people, I'm probably going to get 100 to
Yeah.
300. I
Yeah.
got 1,800, which is like, I thank
That's
God.
good. Because
But
it's,
like,
yeah.
if we just think about it from a numbers perspective, right? What's the highest form of leverage? And it's probably just posting your freaking reel, posting your stories, and then DMing.
Yep.
Because
At
it's
the end of
one
the
to a
day.
million, 1 to 1,000, 1 to 100 to 1,000, and 1 to 1.
Exactly.
Versus you post this fancy VSL, that's like all the way over here. It's like,
Yeah,
bro, do this
exactly.
first,
It's in this
and then
whole other
worry about
world.
that.
100% agree with you. I could not agree with that more, dude. That, yeah, well said. So yeah, well, I mean, to kind of start wrapping things up, what was your favorite part about working with me?
Yeah, bro. The accountability to my goals, like, bro, like literally, if I don't respond on WhatsApp, if I don't respond on text, like I'm getting like 5 DMs, like this dude is just straight hawking me down. It's just
I
man,
gotta
because I
make sure,
need,
dude. I mean, if we're working one on one, right? Like, I can't,
yeah,
yeah, I'm not just chucking you in a Discord group and being like, figure it out, bro. Like, no, we are working on this together.
yeah. So that was definitely the biggest thing. That I appreciate, and that's what I preach to my fitness clients. So I appreciate that for myself because like I can work in spurts sometimes, and
Hmm.
that's like really what I'm working on this year is just to be just a steady stream all the way through. So definitely the accountability piece, and then just helping me keep things simple. Like, hey, optimize your bio like this. Run this story, add a little bit more value here, but other than that, just keep ripping what you're
Yeah,
doing. So
that's
yeah,
awesome, bro. That's awesome. Yeah, and you've
gotcha.
always, and just to be straight with you too here, like you've always been a client of mine, and I'd even consider you a friend because I don't like calling people like clients, but you've always been someone that's independent, and that helps. Like even from my perspective, I'm sure you understand that for like a fitness, client who's independent enough to like get their own things done, but you just have to kind of like help and come in like critique certain things. And I think
Yeah,
that's one of the reasons why like, I when we started working together, I loved being a part of your journey because I didn't have to, yes, I had to like stay on top of you, like communicate and like gather data and to be able to like fix certain things, but I never had to be like, come on, like post your reels, like come on, post your stories.
yes,
Like I
yeah.
didn't have to make you do it. I didn't have to like do like, come on, like you got to talk on your stories and be like, I'm scared. Like you didn't drag me through that process. And I mean, I have clients who are like that, and that's okay. And is it, I'm not going to say it's like annoying and I hate doing that, but I think if you're going to invest into like working with somebody, you can't, I mean, just throw yourself on the floor and have them like pick you up. Like, what I mean? It's not
Yeah,
like a kindergarten teacher and like a toddler.
and I don't know. You've probably been part of a lot of mentorships, and I have too.
Yeah.
And it's like, like there are certain parts of my journey where it's like, oh, I'm paying for this and they're going to help and they're going to do everything for me. It's like, no, bro, like
No.
they're going to give the framework, but it's up to you to take the action
Right.
and then fix it and then fix
Exactly.
it. It's like
Yeah.
having a second pair of eyes.
Yeah,
Like,
they
fix the
open. They're
roadmap.
gonna. I tell people every time they say like, like, can you 100% guarantee? No, like anybody who guarantees you that you're gonna do something is automatically that's a red flag. And I say, I will open all the doors for you and provide you with what you need, but you got to walk through. Like you have to apply it yourself. You have to be your
Yeah.
own person. And I think you would want that because then you feel like you did it. Not like you don't always live in this shadow of like, oh, this one person like made me who I am. Like this is like I would say like right now, like you aren't defined by me and muscle media management. You're defined by yourself because yeah, I helped you, but this is your business, this is your story, this is your outcome because you put the input in.
Yeah. And I can just imagine from your standpoint, like, how frustrating it is. Like, bro, I'm sure you just want to talk about like scaling and business op and all this stuff. And it's like, I'm not faulting anybody. I'm not hating, but it's like,
Yeah.
man, dude, if we can't even rip a story or post a reel, like,
Oh
how are we
yeah.
gonna,
Then how are you
if we're
gonna
stuck on that, like, we need to be here. And if we're stuck here, bro, how are we
Yeah, I
going
mean,
to
if I have a 3 month framework, my framework, right? In like content phase, business phase, scaling phase. I mean, if it's like 6 weeks in and we're still like, hey, please post content, it's like we're in a little bit of a sticky situation. Yeah, 100%. So, for anybody, lastly, just kind of for you to be able to, for anybody watching this now towards the end of the video, for you to kind of just give some mentoring tips. A lot of people look up to you, dude. A lot of people who come through my page constantly ask about you. People wonder how you achieved such a high level of success so quickly. And I don't know if you give yourself that credit, but you should because you've done something pretty amazing. For anybody looking to see a similar level of success to that, what's one thing that they should avoid entirely?
one thing they should avoid entirely,
Yeah.
not posting content ever because they're so scared of what other people think or what their friends are going to think or, X, Y, and Z, whatever reason.
Hmm.
Like the fact that if you're jacked and you're doing something cool, or even if you're just jacked and you're not making content, like, bro, you're missing out on literally a million to like infinite amounts of
Infinite,
money
yeah, it's
with very
stupid.
little time.
Now
So,
it's just dumb.
like,
It's how much you're missing out
worrying,
on, yeah.
worrying about what other people think has been something that has been like a common theme when I was younger and through that part of my life. And now it's like I don't really even, it doesn't give me a second thought because I just like, and I know you're the same way where it's like,
Yeah.
bro, like, we just have too much cool stuff to build. And I think genuinely when I hop on all the calls with guys who are like asking me, because I get on calls with guys who are asking me
Yeah.
the same thing, it's like they're so scared of they have a personal page. I'm like, bro, start posting if you care about this. And they're like, no, dude, I have too many followers and they'll judge me. And it's like, who cares what
Yeah.
other people are going to say? They're either going to like
This
your
is
stuff and they're going to
exactly.
follow you and you're going to want them in your circle, or they're not. And they can just go away.
And I
So
think that's what you just said there is so important too. And I think that goes back to having an effective coaching business, just even on like the micro side, 'cause that's like a macro, big picture life lesson. But
yeah,
when you try to please everybody, like when I hear someone like, okay, when I start building out a content blueprint with someone, right? And I don't start with like, okay, here's how to edit, here's how to this, like, okay, who are we targeting? What makes up you as a person, right? Figuring out like who this person is so we know where we can effectively come at an angle, right, and niche down. Hearing someone say, like, oh, like I can just kind of help anybody do anything. Like I can help with weight loss, I can help with this, I can help with that. I can like be like a multi-purpose tool in a sense. I think if you try in a sense, it's a cool big picture lesson, but now like also like fine details with a coaching business and making more money. When you try and like appeal to everybody, you effectively appeal to nobody. Like, and I
yeah,
think why it's like you have to be okay with some people just not liking your stuff. Like if you look at the most liked or not liked, like most popular people on the internet, there's also equally amount of people who like despise them. Like look at Andrew
yeah,
Tate, right? Andrew Tate blew up. Like he has some people love him to death, like love every word he says. Cult following. Half the people despise, right?
yeah.
And I don't think it has to be like a controversy, like positive, negative thing, but there's probably a lot of people that watch you and like, this solves my exact issue, thank you. And then there's some people who are like, this doesn't solve my issues. Like, he's cool, I like his physique, but this isn't something that's like personally helping me. And I think that's okay. And what makes the people who you do appeal to you even more.
Yeah, for sure. I used to get like hate mail on my old reels, the ones where I was like really controversial, like people emailing me like
Oh
ready to sue
yeah.
me and stuff. But anyway, yeah, I guess like, and then even like, I love that you said that, dude, because yeah, it's so true. You have to be willing to be a polarizing figure. Like, how are you going to do anything? Like, okay, and we just think about this so simply. Like, dude, if you're like a 20-year-old and you're jacked and you want to build a fitness coaching business, it's like, dude, you're not gonna help anyone if you don't rock the boat. Like, post the fitness content. So what do you
Exactly.
like? What do you like?
Yeah.
Help people. And then, like, honestly, on another scale, like I would have saved a lot of time and energy if I would have known this. Is just things, keeping it simple. Like, just stop avoiding the work that just needs
Mm-hmm.
to be done. Like, post
Yeah.
the dang reel first, post the stories, and then get the DMs.
Because
That's like the work that
and
genuinely is
also
supposed
with
to be
content,
done.
like it's like an exponential growth process where you have to use the data from what you posted to see what's going to keep working. So if you don't start that cycle, you're not going to be able to go anywhere. I think a lot of people, like for example, even me, like I'll admit it, right, with YouTube, which we're starting right now, I for the longest time had this beautiful vision of what my YouTube would look like. And I think like as every time I went to go do it, it's like, oh, this might not look like that. But starting imperfectly now, because right now I'm recording a Loom video on my laptop. If this was done in my head the way I wanted to, it'd have more box lights and a beautiful camera connected to this, but I'm using my webcam, right? Um, I will never get good at YouTube until I can post my first YouTube video, learn from it, and then post the next one, and then post the next one, and then post
Yeah,
the next one. And I think people with reels, the same thing, that they have this beautiful idea of what this perfect fitness reel will look like, but in the construction of it, they'll never actually do it.
yeah, and they'll, yeah, it's just, yeah, 1,000% well said. There's nothing more to be said to that.
Yeah. So second to last, can you give one piece of hard tactical advice? So something more actionable, not just, like a lesson that somebody, looking to get a leg up in their online coaching business or, personal brand can use pretty much immediately after watching this video.
People that are already posting for clarity,
It could be either people
or
who are posting, people, yeah, sure. Let's go with people who are posting. First step. Let's go with people who are posting, people who are running a business.
make sure people know what you offer and what you stand for. Make sure people know what you offer in the form of telling about it on your stories, telling about it on your reels, because there's people, and especially in weight loss, there's people that they're going to pay who are worse than you, and they're not going to get the results, and you're not going to make the progress. So you owe it to them to make sure that they
Yeah.
know what you offer and how you can help them. So in terms of tactical advice, like every Monday and Friday, I wrote a story CTA. And then throughout the week, obviously, I'm writing my own stories, but I'm kind of slapping my audience and showing them, like, hey, like, here's who I am, here's how I get results, as well as showing them my personality. But every
Yeah.
day has like a golden thread of, like, here's me getting results. Monday, I post a story CTA. I wake up, I have leads. I booked like 3 calls yesterday just from doing that.
Beautiful.
So I wake up, and on Monday, I say I have leads for the week,
Beautiful.
right? And then I'll be in the DMs. So tactical advice, story CTA, Monday, Friday. Um, if you have the audience, if you don't have the audience, don't even worry about that. Just build your audience first. And then 50 warm outreaches a day,
Yeah.
minimum.
Yeah. I would
Like,
say if I
that's
tell
like,
my guys, yeah, I tell you all you guys 50 to 100.
50 to 100. Like, bro, like,
It's not hard, bro. Like, just take your
it's not
laptop,
hard.
put it down, take out your phone, set a timer, whatever you have to do, right? Like, it's
It's
not rocket science, bro.
open a clicker. I literally every day I wake up, I have a clicker app,
Yeah.
and I until I click 50 times, I don't leave, and then I can do whatever else because I don't want to do. I literally don't want to do it. I'm gonna be honest. I don't want to,
Yeah,
and I
it's
can't.
not
And I want to be
fun,
so good
but
that I can hire a setter and train them how to do it.
and a
But
VA,
right
yeah.
now, like,
Right
it's just
now,
what you
yeah.
have to do.
People don't, and also people underestimate, like, people, like, to the volume that I'm running this agency right now, people are still so surprised, like, in the DMs, and they're like, "Wait, am I talking to a setter? It's still me." Like, people are all the time like complain
Yeah,
and cry at like 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, 4,000, 5,000 followers. Like, "Oh, I don't want to set my own DMs anymore. I need a setter." Like, no, you don't, bro. You do not need a setter. Like, I set an agency right now that does a lot, like, not to like brag, but does a lot more volume than you, and I'm still setting my own. Like, just like be disciplined
yeah,
and take time out of your day. Like, this is what a business is. It's not where you don't get cute hours with it.
yeah. It's like if you can't set your own DMs, or how could you train some setter from
Exactly, and then they're not gonna
wherever
be
to
able
do
to.
it for you? Like, right, you'll
Yeah,
never.
exactly.
So
And now,
that'd be the advice I'd give to people who are running. And in this position I'm at, and in this point I'm at in my business, that's the advice I'd give.
yeah, yeah, and now flip the side. What about someone who hasn't started really offer yet, and maybe is just getting into content?
Bro, keep post 1 to 2 every single day. There's accounts that are way bigger than you doing more volume. Same
Yep.
like you said with the setting game.
Mm-hmm.
I posted content I started posting 11 months ago. I came back from Florida. I was
Yep.
like, I'm gonna do this. I started posting in 11 months. I was able to quit a job where I was making 70 to 80K a year as a personal trainer, take home income. And so if like literally, I don't care who you are. If you're jacked, you have to have a good physique, to a certain extent, or you have to be doing cool stuff. Post freaking content every day. It'll literally change your life. Like that's where you have to start. I don't care. Like you worrying about other people judging you
Mm.
is just sacrificing your dreams for other people. That's kind of weird. Like you
Yeah.
shouldn't live your life like that. So
Yeah.
post content.
1,000%. Sweet, dude. Well, lastly, if people are interested in working with you, where can they find you, bro?
Yeah, at Aiden, Aidan, not E. Everyone puts E. It's Aidan dot Leon, Leon, on Instagram, and then it's Aiden spelled the same way. Aiden C Leon on YouTube. Instagram and YouTube are my two biggest platforms. So yeah,
There we go.
check it out.
Aiden, it was a pleasure speaking with you, bro. Thank you
Let's
for
go,
taking
thanks.
time to talk with everybody here. Guys, I hope you got something crazy valuable out of this almost hour-long video.
Oh,
I'll see you in the next one. All right, so hope you guys enjoyed the interview. Let's get into this little bonus module or whatever you want to call it at the end of the video. Pretty much, I'm just going to break down the entire content blueprint or process, method, whatever you want to call it, that I literally use with all my clients to help them get the results that you see that Aiden heavily attributed a lot of his success to. A lot of it does come down back to the organics, to the content, to everything you see going on typically on Instagram. So let's take a deep dive into all of this. Again, take like 30 minutes, maybe get out a pen and paper. But obviously this is a video. You can go back and watch it whenever you want, but it's going to probably last about 30-ish minutes. So without further ado, let's get into it. I built this kind of Miro board. If you don't know what that is, it's like a digital whiteboard. So we're just going to start here. I posted this when it happened in September. We did 4 weeks of content, took his page from just a few thousand followers to well over 20. And then in our first 4 weeks of offer launch for his online fitness coaching business, we did a little over $10,000. I think at the end, the total was 10.6. Here we captured 10.3 with this screenshot. I think he had like one more recurring client or something hit like that for $300. But yeah, there's the stripe. You can see 10.3. So yeah, how did Aiden go from just a few thousand followers to over 20,000 followers in just 4 weeks, and then convert that traffic into $10,000 in just 4 weeks? The truth is that there is a primary issue that most people really don't know how to solve or fix. And it's the saturation issue. So pretty much we all know that online fitness coaching is not new. This has been something going on for a while, but there was a recent spark in popularity. A lot of people, summer of 2024, hopped on the train. A lot of influencers just converted their entire page, their fitness pages, to fitness coaching businesses. It kind of became a new side hustle, which is unfortunate. But we can't pretend that that's not true. We have to recognize that and act accordingly. So I hear a lot of people always complain about this. They say that, there's saturation, it's impossible, their content can't stand out, they can't stand out, and that's the reason why it's hard to get clients. And I don't disagree entirely. But I think of it a little bit differently, and just based off of the wins that I've seen with my guys, my top, most successful clients, like Aiden, it's a little bit different than just, a saturated pool. The saturation issue isn't with how many online fitness coaches there are, because let's be honest, there's millions and millions and millions and millions, I think actually billions of active users every month on Instagram. And the market of people who need to get in shape is massive. So the fact that there's a lot of online fitness coaches isn't the issue. The saturation issue stems from the fact that there's too many of the same online fitness coaches doing the exact same thing, posting the exact same content with the exact same story framework, with everything just pretty much copy and paste. It's like an army of robots. And that's why I work one-on-one with my guys, because if I created a course like a lot of other people do for online fitness coaching business owners, or however you want to go about that, you recognize that a lot of the information that's being put out is copy and paste, and that creates a lot of coaches who all do the same thing because it works, and then it stops working because everybody starts doing the same thing. My most successful clients are the ones who have just stood out like a sore thumb, and that's my goal for you to be able to do for yourself. So how do we go about that? Obviously, we've heard this before. The first step is to niche in, right? You want to be known as the guy for whatever you do. But before we get into exactly what it means to niche in, I want to talk about a flawed ideology with this. You see, when you think of other service-based business models or product-based business models, like, for example, drop shipping, a lot of times when you think of niching, you think of picking a category, whatever you please, right? Because your face isn't really attached to it. You can choose beauty, you can choose pets, you can choose tech, you can choose toys. You can run the business however you want and pick whatever sector, because it doesn't matter. It's just the face of the product is the face. It's not you. You're just hiding behind the screen. However, the issue with this is that with now the fact that we're building a personal brand, your whole entire life, your experiences, who you are as a person is the face of everything. So you can't just pick whatever niche you want. You can't just say, oh, I'm going to help busy corporate dads if you've never been a busy corporate dad, because you're going to struggle to be able to relate to these kind of people. So when niching in, you're going to have to understand that this is a personal brand. It is a representation of who you are, your unapologetic true self. All right. So you have to take a look at your story. Look at your why. Why did you get into the gym? What went on in your life when you were getting into the gym, getting in shape? Was there struggles in your mind, physically, with other people, socially, right? What was going on there? And then who? Who exactly do you want to help? Who can you relate to? What is their story life? What is their life like? What are their goals? What are their struggles? And then what? What is the medium or the bridge that you are connecting their struggles with to their desired outcome? And this is something I kind of do with all my clients when starting, because content isn't just this massive battle between you and the algorithm. Everybody thinks that, the second they join me, a lot of times people will join in to work with me and they'll say, okay, so, how do I start editing the right way? How do I use the right hashtags? How do I use the right post times and stuff like that? But none of that matters. At the end of the day, this is a people game. You have to understand that a personal brand is extremely, it's in the name, personal. It's about you, who you are as a person, and you're messaging and relating to other people who have gone through or want to be in similar experiences as you are now. So with that being said, let's scroll back. There's really two areas we have to take a look at. First, we have to take a look at target demographic. So target demographic is the macro details, okay? So this is the age, gender, location, right, of your desired clientele. So after you think all about, who you are, what your story is like, who you're trying to help, the biggest thing is, yeah, who are you trying to help? Because we have to message very clearly to that person. And this is why I have so many people who I work with who make a lot of money with just such a small follower count. Because you don't need millions of followers to be successful with an online fitness coaching business. You just need quality followers. It's the concentration of the people who are following you. So if you can message directly to a specific individual instead of being like every other online fitness coach saying, here are the three biggest bicep tips to, get big arms, and make these blanket statement videos, then you're never going to go anywhere. So we have to focus on a specific individual and be known as the guy that can help them. And it's honestly the best when our storyline, right? Our why, and the parts of our story and what we struggled with in the past lines up with what these people are struggling with currently, so they can see, okay, hey, I was here. This is you, right? I was here. Now I'm here. And I recognize that you were here too. So I can help you bridge that gap. And that gap being bridged is your what? The medium which you're helping them with. This could be holistic fitness training, powerlifting, bodybuilding, whatever kind of fitness that you're helping them bridge that gap to their goals from where they are now. So to talk about, again, who exactly this is going towards, first we have to take a look at target demographics. So this is macro. This is big picture, all right? So we're still not too niched in. And a lot of people only focus on this. So for example, with Aiden, we decided we were going to target probably 24 to 44-year-old men in high GDP countries. So like United States, anywhere else where the inflation isn't that crazy, because when you're selling high ticket for online fitness coaching, you don't want inflation to, nick you there. So a lot of people stop here. A lot of people say, okay, as long as I know the age range and the gender, I'm good. But that's still a massive pool of people. We have to understand the exact type of person you're speaking with. Okay, so this is where avatar comes in. This is the micro details, so fine details, thoughts, lifestyles, challenges, habits, desires, goals of your desired clientele. You need to know so much about this person as if you were almost speaking to Jesus Christ himself, telling him exactly how to design a human being. Like, you need to know their entire life. You need to know everything that they do on a day-to-day basis. You have to understand them so well so that you can almost chameleon all of your content and your messaging to fit and be very relatable to what's going on in their life. So they almost can look at your content, be like, wow, this guy gets me. This whole page is almost like a diamond in the rough. It's exactly what I was looking for. Another way to kind of think about this is if you had an issue with, I don't know, your Xbox or your PlayStation, right, when you were a younger kid, and it just wasn't working, you connect it all, you get it hooked up to the TV, and just nothing working. Now, you go on YouTube, you take your issue to YouTube, and on YouTube, you get two videos when you look this up. One is a video from the company itself, which is this 30-minute long video, super, super broad. It touches on a bunch of issues. It has a nice welcome. It's all nicely edited. And then, second, is some 4080p video, the quality is whatever, but it solves the exact issue that you need. Basically says, yep, you need to take the HDMI for this specific TV, plug it in here, flip the switch, and you're good. So that's kind of the whole idea with Avatar, is exact issues that they're struggling with. So with Aiden, we wanted to help busy businessmen who struggle to stay in shape due to schedule and lack of knowledge, okay? So step 2 is the actual content. So now we have to message and create content to not only attract these people, but also nurture them to funnel them towards that high ticket offer. Okay. So a lot of times, you guys probably have heard of the word content funnel or the phrase or whatever. It's honestly thrown around a lot. So I kind of want to explain it here as easy as possible. Think of it like sifting for gold. Imagine, you're making content on a platform like Instagram with, like we said, billions of monthly viewers, and you have to create some sort of mechanism that can effectively, weed through and find that individual that works well for your high ticket offer that you have. Similarly, if you want to talk about it like sifting for gold, you pour a bunch of sand in, sift it around, and out pops a piece of gold. So how can we do that for online fitness coaching? Here's how. First, at the top of the funnel, we have our blow-up reels, okay? Blow-up reels are simple viral hacking videos that are just meant to get views and get people in the door or get people in this, kind of content funnel mechanism, okay? With Aiden, we used a lot of these videos here where you can see right here, it says like POV, you started doing Cossack squats and now your legs are jacked, your hips feel great, and your squat max is juicy. These are quick little videos, honestly, no more than 10 seconds. They can be transformations, they can be just like simple statements. The whole point here is that they're just meant to blow up. They're not providing as much value. These could even be like, yeah, like a body transformation, stuff like that. And, you know, you see here, we got a couple to pop off. Similarly, not obviously not in the millions, but again, something more broad statemented. We had his whole fitness transformation, and that's again just discovery. It's getting people to discover who Aiden was and get interested enough to get into the page. We just have to get them in. Okay, so that's your blow up reel. Now, blow up reels, I don't recommend posting these, you know, this to be the majority of your content, posting these every single day. These should definitely be sprinkled and less posted than what I'm about to show you, which are nurture reels. So with nurture reels, the thing is here is that I tell all my clients this, I don't care about the views that these get. Look, you can see even here, like a couple thousand views, so 2,000 views, 4,000 views, 6,000 views, right? These are supposed to be extremely distinguishable, specific videos for that avatar, for that very specific person that we're talking about their life, their goals, their struggles, their habits, right? Making videos that are hyper specific to them. And these won't get as many views, but they will nurture that specific person extremely effectively, where they feel like, wow, you know, this guy really understands me. He's not like all those other influencer coaches who constantly just make videos that are so blanket statement, like how to get in shape, how to lose weight, how to get jacked, right? Where Aiden right here, you can see he's making very hyper-specific videos, like watch this if your sleep sucks, and which is one that a lot of busy professionals have because, you know, they're working all the time, probably getting home late, caffeine dependency, blah, blah, blah. Again, the messaging of these videos are all on par with the specific person that we're targeting. So we even had him talk a little bit about his own business here, and you can see there's the 10.6 screenshot. And you can see the month before that, I made 200, I think he made $200 or something. I don't know how. Maybe that was like a test client or whatever, but yeah, 10.6K. We even talked a little bit about his own business to relate to business owners, because he works with a lot of people in, you know, who run agencies, even similar to me, who are so focused on the business that they forget about everything to do with fitness. You can see everything that he does, though, very specific issues. And because at the end of the day, people feel like a special snowflake. You have to understand that people feel like their issues can't be solved by just some general fix. They need a specific special fix for all of their special issues. And that's what these videos are supposed to be. You want to imagine that the person's issue is like a lock with a really weird hole. And each of these videos is like the key with that specific opening. And so when they come across your page, it feels like that diamond in the rough, and they're like, wow, this is awesome. This is like having a free fitness coach, because he solves all those exact issues that I had that I feel like no one else did. These are the nurturing reels. This should be the majority of your content. You want to overwhelm people almost, in a sense, with this style of content. Now, let's talk a little bit about story framework, because stories are arguably more important than reels. But there's a lot of pillars of stories that carry into reels and vice versa. We'll talk about that right now. So the next part of this I call pillar stories, okay? Because if you can see from where we come right now, by the way, let's talk about a little brief overview. Content funnel, right? Slowly people are being funneled towards an endpoint right here, and that's obviously where, with CTA stories, call to action stories, we'll talk about in a second, people will buy in, or at least reach out to potentially buy in to get set up with a sales call or something. You know, people find you for the blow up reels, they get nurtured and they feel a great connection and learn a lot from the nurture reels, and then they start getting into this ecosystem of stories. Now, stories, the first part of stories, I call them pillar stories. The story is probably by far more important than the reels, because the word I just used, ecosystem, it's this self-perpetuating almost incubator for people where they get to live with you pretty much every day and learn about everything you're doing, get free nuggets of information, and learn about the person that they might potentially want to work with, and really learn who you are as a person. This is where the harsh reality, if you aren't up to par with what you talk and you're not walking the walk, this will be an issue for you, because you can't really just hide behind the camera with your reels and just live a perfect life there. I mean, you can kind of live a perfected life in your reels, but in your stories, when you're just every day, if you're not waking up early, if you're not on top of your routine, if you're not on top of your workouts, it's going to come clear there. So you got to get on top of your stuff. Now, pillar stories accomplish three things, and we'll talk a little why I have Alvin and the Chipmunks right here. But pretty much the pillar stories reveal if you're a leader or not. To be a good online fitness coach, you need to be a leader. And a leader has three strong qualities that I think every successful online fitness coach has, and that I've been able to at least see from my successful clients and other people that I don't work with. First is authority, second is trust, and third is a likable and relatable character. Okay? Now, this is an extremely important message for you right now, so please listen to this. Let's look at Alvin and the Chipmunks. Okay? Clearly, Alvin is the leader of them, and you can see because they're all wearing his hat. But let's talk about why, and let's relate that to successful versus failed online fitness coaches. So first, we'll take a look at Theodore. Okay? Theodore's nice. He's a chill guy. He's happy, lovable, right? He's got a good, likable character. But at the end of the day, you wouldn't pay him thousands of dollars to learn how he does or what he does, because at the end of the day, he's also a little bit chubby, right? He doesn't even have what he says he has down to a T. This is the online fitness coach, who's nice. They're super positive about the gym. They're a really likable character. And this is honestly most influencers, right? And what I call influencer syndrome. People love them, but don't take them serious enough to buy into their programs because they also don't know enough about what they're talking about. And it's clear through their content. And at the end of the day, you don't have earned trust and you don't have authority, right? Simple. Now, let's go look at Simon, okay? Simon thinks he should be the leader because he knows a lot and he's super smart, but at the end of the day, his character and his trust and authority is starting to lack. You see, he's smart and he knows a lot of stuff, and this is similar to the coach who, might be certified in all these different angles and has been studying this for years, but at the end of the day, it's kind of sounds nerdy, almost like a textbook, like, here's how to train your, like, gluteus maximus to do blah, blah, blah. And everything is just education, okay? And at the same time, Simon is a little bit of a coward, a little shy, right? He's not that fun to, like, hang out with. And this is where the person whose entire content is like a textbook and education, why would you want to pick them as an online fitness coach when you're going to be spending all this one-on-one time with them if all they are is like some sort of doctor? You want to be able to have a great connection with them, and online fitness coaches who are usually successful have that kind of charisma and authority presence. So now, obviously, we'll talk a little bit about Alvin. Alvin, he might not be as much as a genius as Simon, but he kind of has the best of all three worlds. He has authority. People listen to what he says. People trust him. He has a likable character. He has charisma. People think he's funny, and people get along with him. Now, if we carry that over to not only the stories where you're constantly displaying this every single day, but even in the reels, if you remember what Aiden said in our interview, he said, one of the biggest turnoffs he has with coaches is all they do is just post education. Now, while Aiden does provide a lot of value, a lot of education, and teach a lot, his character comes out through everything he does. Everything isn't super uptight. He's very laid back. He has a lot of energy. He makes jokes in his videos. He allows who he is as a person to bleed through his content. And I think that's something extremely important because people like and want to get along with him. People would want to be friends and maybe even pay to be coached by him just because they want to be with Aiden because he's cool. And that can carry over to the pillar stories, like we kind of said, that self-circulating incubator where he's literally just doing this every day. And we, again, have a lot of these different pillars. So here, this is a video. I paused it up here, but seated interset stretch curls are a cheat code for massive arms. Okay. So even when he's providing value, right, he has his own lingo. He has his own vocabulary and way of talking. You can see it across the board here. He doesn't use full words. He tries not to be like nerdy, if that makes sense. Very going into that whole like holistic vibe as if he's like some sort of like island man. Is something we've noticed. I've noticed at least, and I think he has tried to like paint, especially recently. He went, I think, to Costa Rica for a few weeks, and while he was there, it's like all he was doing. So this is again also to authority, trust, right? You can see he has a great physique, and he's teaching about it. here dropping stuff like this. These are like subtle call to actions. They're not, he didn't directly say for people to look at this client win and join into his program, but he's just displaying that he knows what he's doing by showing a client win. So my guy Ryan here, who has lost 20 pounds since joining. Reminder, steak and eggs are never your enemy. And PUFAs, trans fats, blue light, oxidation, visceral fat most definitely are. Again, this is all messaging based off of what the person who is following him wants to hear. Okay, because this whole holistic fitness thing, he's using that as the medium for people who are busy, like corporate guys. And a lot of these people also are familiar with this whole, like, blue light glasses and that whole mantra of fitness, because it's gained a lot of popularity recently. I think, what's his name, like Santa Cruz and like people like that all over social media lately, and even like Alex Sedlak with his blue light glasses. This theme of holistic fitness has become increasingly popular. Even so, you see like kids now putting, every single time they eat, putting their steak and eggs on a cutting board. So he's further like pushing into that whole messaging. Same thing here. Like, do you wear wired headphones, or do you like to fry your brain? He's not only being, he's not being like a nerd through it. He's smart and he's showing diagrams and he's showing he knows what he knows, but again, allowing his character to breathe through. Same thing here. And again, here, this is kind of what we talked about earlier. If you're not really walking the walk, you're just talking the talk. All the time when he used to wake up early, I think he still does, but I remember he used to show like timestamps. This was like in the early AM. He is living the life that he wants his clients to. And he's not just talking about it. He is actively showing how he is that person. Because if you think about it, you have to be like a superhero for these people. These people have to be able to see you as their dream of what they want to be. And that's why they're going to work with you, because they want to be, in a sense, like a mini you. They want to learn from who they want to be like. And again, these are just more examples of how he shows his character, like likable, chill dude, but also funny and really knowledgeable about what he does. And these are these pillar stories, again, where we'll go back here, where you are wanting to show authority, trust, and a likable, relatable character, right? Not just pumping constant, relatable, likable character stuff like an influencer, where all you're making is those blow up reels, and not just building trust with tons of content and being kind of nerdy where you're just like a textbook, but combining that all to build authority and have people like you as a person and want to, because people buy from people at the end of the day. That people buy from people. They don't buy from ideologies or frameworks. They buy from people who they trust, and people have to trust you. They have to know you as a person. So when you can combine all these three aspects across your stories and also within your reels, that's where you're going to hit the head on the nail. So then lastly, we have CTA stories. So after we've built trust, we've built authority, we've built a likable and relatable character where people feel like they know you, people feel like they love what you are saying and putting out there, all this value that you are providing to them. They feel like you are that perfect fix for their solution, and they are thinking about, wow, this guy might be awesome to work with. This is where call to action stories, where you call somebody to act, to message you or click a link or whatever to buy into your program. This is where that funnel finally comes to the pinpoint. So call to action stories, we have a few different type. Okay, so first we just have a single, everything is within one story. So what does this look like? This is where, what's going on with my computer? I can't zoom in anymore from here. Okay. This is where everything is just combined in one story. It's almost like a collage. You can see with this client Max, he said a little something in his Discord, and also notice how Aiden uses Discord as his portal for his clients and uses graphs and stuff, because it even further relates to the demographic of people he's talking to, because business owners are used to seeing all this stuff when they see, different interfaces and stuff like that. They work with interfaces all the time. So this kind of organization and business talk, it clicks with them in their mind. So yeah, right on target for 25 pounds down in the first 8 weeks across the board. All of my guys winning the plan is simple: stronger, leaner, more confident, the whole package. DM now to complete transform in the next 90 days. Notice how he doesn't just chuck up a client win right here. The biggest thing I see with a lot of people will just chuck up a client win, and it's like, Max is down 25 pounds, DM now to complete transform in the next 90 days. Now, Aiden also explains a little bit into how he did this, because he's selling people what they want to hear. So all of my guys winning, the plan is simple. People want to know that the people at least he's talking to want to hear simple. They don't want this whole complicated thing that they have to follow because they don't have time. He's selling to busy business owners. She's saying it's simple, stronger, leaner, more confident, the whole package, okay? And he's being analytical, which these business owners, again, like, right on target for 25 pounds down in the first 8 weeks across the board. So he's kind of even showing you, hey, this is how I break down my methodology. And you can see right here with the pictures and the messages and the graphs, it works, okay? Built a lot of trust, and then he called to act on it, all within a single story. This is great, obviously, to throw out from time to time. We can talk a little bit after I go through all these, how you can maybe create some sort of calendar or structure to when you post your call to actions. To take a step back from that, these are circling all day, every day, right? 5 to 8 times a day. You're posting the pillar stories, right? You're posting 1 to 2 reels every single day. With the majority of them being nurture and then sprinkling in your blow up reels. Again, though, the reason I didn't really heavily state this is I want you to post 1 to 2 times a day and then post 3 to 5 this and then use this hashtags. It's because at the end of the day, it's good content, guys. This is you versus people. This is not you versus an algorithm. I just said that earlier. This is you targeting other people and helping them. If you can genuinely help people and you can show them that you're a likable person and you can build trust with them and you know what you're talking about and you can get results, that's it. You can have 500 followers and make probably $10,000 a month. I've helped people make a lot of money with a small following because a lot of people now are even oblivious to the fact of what people are behind the screen. You see like the number 1,000, they're like, oh, that's not a lot for social media. But I guarantee you if you talked in front of 1,000 people, you'd throw up. So it's not about the quantity, it's about the concentration of these people. In doing this all, creating this ecosystem where people can come into on your page, across the stories, across the reels and everything, the call to actions will work. If you even just get 5 people to pay for a 6-month, $2,000 program, that's $10K. So this is not rocket science. So yeah, that's a single call to action. Okay. Now let's talk about sequences. Okay. So pretty much this was saved in Aiden's, clients folder. Now you would never save a whole story sequence, which I'll tell you about in a second, which is just a sequence storyline. You would never save that in a highlight circle. So I went and grabbed somebody else's, which is Iman Ghazi, who I actually think is a master of these story sequences. But you just have to put this through the lens of online fitness coaching. It's not that difficult to do. I know you guys are smart, so just think about this as if this was a fitness coach. So the whole point of a story sequence is it's almost like a reel, like a clickable reel throughout your stories. You're creating a storyline with a hook. You're introducing some sort of problem and then posing yourself as the solution and then saying like, guys, if you want to act on this, here's how. So let's look at Iman's, okay? So posted this sick picture of him walking out from a helicopter looking like an absolute G, right? Again, this is messaging specific. He's probably messaging towards the person who he wants to buy into whatever he's about to sell. He's showing himself living a luxurious life. It's very high quality. He's selling to business owners, so that makes sense. So you should be thinking, okay, who am I selling to? The pictures that you're using for these story sequences, or really just everything, should, again, message to a specific person. So I finally decided to address this, ... Notice he doesn't do massive paragraphs all in one story. He keeps it short and concise. A few weeks ago, I went on a silent mission. I drove to the UK countryside, only taking a few of my best men with me. I locked myself away for an entire week. No external contact, no distractions, complete isolation. And I did that for a very specific reason. The 7 days I stayed there, I spent doing the one thing and one thing only: recording. From the moment I woke up to the moment I went to bed. But what I recorded there is not what you're used to seeing from me. It was not a few YouTube videos, some podcasts, or even a new program. Nope, it was something completely different. It was without a doubt the most important piece of content I have ever recorded in the last 18 months, and I have kept complete silence about it until now. Meanwhile, my team has been working full-time on putting these recordings together. 16-hour days, 7 days of the week. In total, over 857 hours have been put into this specific project, just on editing alone. So trust me when I say this will be the most important project I'll put out this entire year. Tomorrow, I'll break the silence on it. Stay tuned. So this is really dragged out. This is what, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. This is like almost like 20 stories, right? This is really dragged out. Personally, I wouldn't recommend doing something as big as this because Iman's, one, a genius. Two, he has millions and millions and millions of people following him. So really whatever he puts out, people are going to scroll through. I would condense it down probably between like 5 to 8 stories. You can still create a really killer story sequence that, because think about it. You don't want, like, let's say you have 1,000 people on average view your stories. 1,000 people view this. Naturally, I don't care if you're Iman or you're just starting on Instagram, people are going to, the retention is going to drop. And by the end, you're not going to have 1,000 here. You're going to have a couple hundred. So you have to keep that in mind with your stories. It's the first thing with story sequences. As you're introducing this issue, or with him like painting this like mystery of what's going on, right? For example, you could be like, when I'm trying to think back on a story sequence, I think my client Ben, one time he did something about how he cracked the case to this new method on, shredding, and he showed, and anybody can accomplish it, and he showed all these like a kind of collage of different people, and now I'm kind of like breaking free on that, and this is when he released some sort of like free guide. Um, the point is, yeah, you introduce with either a problem or something to build up suspense of, like what's going on, and then you slowly reveal how you're going to give it to them either for free or you can help them with the call to action. Now, let's take a look at a couple little elements here, okay? First off, like I said right from the beginning, the pictures he used all are very important here. Even the text, right? I mean, guys, messaging is so important. Let me explain something to you really quickly. If you're going to take anything away from this video, it's just this: message to your avatar. That's it. Figure out who your avatar is based off of learning about your story, and everything you do across your content, across your stories, across your reels, everything is just messaging to them. That's the entire game. That's it. That I know it sounds weird, but it is a messaging game. So even like the text that he's using, because he's talking to like business owners, right? So he's using this like fancy kind of text. He's using all these luxury images, right? Everything that he's doing is meant to keep people going through this. It's why he uses so many dots. That's kind of, again, like if you think about stories and keeping watch time, instead of saying everything in one take, right? That's why a lot of influencers and creators and coaches record just head talking videos in like 2 to 3 second like phrase fragments instead of just one long talking, because it keeps people's attention span just hopping along. So that's why he uses dots instead of creating one long like message with all of this in it. So if we kind of go back to something like Aiden, right, and we kind of analyze his framing, you can see he uses that same kind of font even, right? Because this also too, it is simple enough too with like the backdrop. This doesn't have the backdrop, so this looks more like cursive like, but this with the backdrop, again, it gives off him that like, I don't even know how to explain it. I'm not like caveman, but like beachy, like all you care. Like it's almost like, I feel like Aiden's vibe is if he just completely left the matrix of, like living in the city and eating horrible food and working a 9 to 5, to just like all he does is work out, get jacked, and he like lives on an island, and he just like, he's that like holistic fitness dude, like Santa Cruz vibes. So even like that text like gives off, even the emojis, right? Like he has the like lightning bolt emoji. He uses the brain emoji a lot. He uses certain emojis to convey that message again. In all the pictures that he uses, right? It's like a lot of like greens and yellows and stuff to like paint this constant picture of this holistic earthy tones. So yeah, that's everything with the single, and that's the sequence. Let's take a look at passive. So passive, this is where you're not necessarily saying for people to join, but it's just implied that people would want to after reading something like this. So he reposted a story where one of his clients mentioned him. The client said, "Just joined Aiden Leon's fitness program. Excited to take my physique and overall fitness seriously. Have always been skinny my entire life, blah, blah, blah." Aiden screenshots this or shares it, and he says, "One of the most dedicated guys I've ever met, going to absolutely transform in the next 90 days. Now, one, he built a little bit of FOMO by saying one of the most dedicated guys, because any other business owner would be like, oh yeah, well, I'm dedicated too. I want to get in. Two, he said all while scaling to 7 figs. So one, again, bringing out that lingo, right? That vocabulary that he has, because he's a likable character. He's bringing his character and his personality into it. He's not just, a soulless textbook. But two, he's, again, talking to business owners. Like, wow, this guy's scaling to like millions a year while like getting in shape. Like, well, okay, and this guy's dedicated. Okay, I want to be a part of this. Like, I want to be a part of this like clan that he's got going on. Because all of the guys, if you notice too, if you ever go check out Aiden's page, all of his clients are kind of the same. And that's really good, because you want your clients all to be the same, because then you can have a service that is tailored to that specific person and use those results of similar people to get more of those similar people. So then you're working with a very specific person who, one, you probably like working with, because Aiden, he's very close with a lot of his clients. He has great relationships with them, and it's evident in the fact that they post about him, they shout him out, they're all talking in his Discord constantly. And it creates this, again, a fear of missing out, a FOMO factor, where other business owners want to be a part of this movement. So this is the kind of the passive where he's just showing like what's going on the inside, and people get interested. They'll probably take a look at his bio and see, oh wait, he has a keyword there, I can go message him. Lastly, this is like a pattern or event sensitive thing. So stuff like Win Wednesday, right? Where maybe every Wednesday you get a pattern going where every Wednesday you post, guys, yo, it's Win Wednesday. We're going to take a look at some of the people who have been absolutely crushing it with the program this week. And something like that where your audience just expects it every single Wednesday. Or again, this could be an event sensitive thing that you come up with yourself with what's going on in your life, or something that, is personal to you. Now, again, to kind of come up with a little bit of a calendar. So like I said, I want you like posting 1 to 3 times a day, majority nurture reels, sprinkling your blow up reels, at most 50-50, but I would never dip more into the blow up instead of nurture. Always try and prioritize, never dip more into the blow up, always try and prioritize the nurture. But in terms of the pillar stories, you're constantly cycling those. And then it's kind of the same thing here, the same relationship between nurture and blow up. With your CTA stories, you can get away with sprinkling a lot of passive, but when you do direct call to actions, you have to understand that you want those words to be valuable. If you look at my page, right, when I go to look for more clients, not only is it true that I have a certain limit of clients that I accept, but you want to remain that feeling of exclusivity. If you're saying you're taking on 3 more guys every single day, it loses its weight, it loses its value. Sequences should be done like once every other week, maybe, or like once a month. Like, these are rare, and when someone like sees a sequence from you, this big thing, they know it's going down. Also, at the same time, when you do a sequence, that should be the only thing on your story. Like, you should just leave that on your story, clear all your stories from the other day if they're still up. And that's also a good tip, by the way, to increase your story views. Clear stories from the last day. But literally just leave your story sequence as the only thing for the entire day, so that's all people can see when they go through that incubation, right? Alex Hormozy said this really well in one of his sales podcasts. Like, if you're trying to give stuff for free, give for free. But if you're trying to sell hard. Don't do half and half. So if you're doing pillar stories, don't just provide all this beautiful value and then at the end be like, boom, call to action. And then it's like, okay, that's why I did all that. I would, if you're doing like, let's say you have a big day of just pillar stories, do some passive stuff so it's not as obvious, but it's still intriguing. Or you could have, at best, maybe like a single one in there, right? But if you do all this and then you have this big story sequence after, A, your retention throughout your stories is going to be horrible. 2, it's just obvious you look like a sellout. So yeah, if you're selling, sell hard, create a killer sequence. This is great for sales, when you're doing price increases. New Year's is coming up. It's in literally a couple days. So yeah, and also you have your pattern. These can be, Win Wednesday, you can do that every Wednesday or something like that. A great structure, again, sorry to get off topic. Great structure, what I would say, story sequence for very specific events, or sales or whatever, maybe like once or twice a month at most. Passives you can sprinkle throughout everything. You can do like a hard single call to action where maybe even you do some talking after it, following up with this with a video of you saying like, guys, giving a little bit of a message of motivation to actually DM me that. Like, it's time to be serious. It's time to take that step. DM me right now if you want to do this. You could do that probably once a week and then sprinkle your passes in for the rest of the week, and then maybe do your Win Wednesday every week. Now, lastly, let's talk about profile setup, okay? So we're going to break this down pretty quickly. First, profile picture, your physique and your face, okay? If you don't have a good physique, like at the end of the day, guys, that's the whole point of this. People want to see, that's your, a massive visual proof. So your physique and your face, because this is a personal brand, okay? You cannot hide behind this. It is you. People buy from people, remember? So your face has got to be in there and invisible. It's got a little bit of shadow going on. Aiden, you might want to touch that up a little bit, but you can still see his face. Next, verified badge. It establishes authority, okay? We want the verified badge because if you ever do outreach and people see a check mark, it's more of a chance they're going to open that. Now let's take a look at the bio, okay? So first at the top, we got Christ follower. Sick. And that's just kind of like a non-negotiable. I know with a lot of Christians, I have it in mind. So that's not really a part of the bio. That's just who I am as a person. My identity is in Christ, and so is his. Next, though, I kind of create the 3-part bio. I don't know if you guys have heard 3-part bio or if that's a coined thing, but it's kind of what I do with all my clients. It's what I even do with myself. The first statement. First before the statements, let's talk about the emojis, right? So messaging. Even like I said, right, we got that lightning, we got the brain, holistic kind of vibes, messaging. But first we have the I help statement. So it's usually I help X, so which is a certain type of people, so your avatar or whatever, do Y, and then you can have some sort of tagline at the end to specify a little bit. So with him, he helps busy guys get jacked. So he helps a specific group of people do something, and then he has his little tagline at the end. So without living in the gym, right? You want to sell people what they want to be sold. Okay. At the end of the day, look at who he's talking to. He's talking to business owners who don't have time without living in the gym. That's what they want to hear. They don't want to hear that this is going to be an every single day, all intensive thing, because that is not appealing to them. That's not attractive. Your service needs to be tailored to helping with people with the issues that they have, right? So there's this I help statement. Next, it's either a continuation or a statistic statement. Aiden right now, he chose a continuation. So health, fitness, and lifestyle design. Again, he's painting that whole, this is more than just getting big biceps and big muscles. This is your entire lifestyle changes. When you get in shape, you're better at work. You're better in your relationships, right? You're a more productive person. And he's painting that picture right there with a continuation, again, selling and messaging into the specific type of person he's helping. So that can either be selling what they want to hear, messaging specific, or it can be, again, something messaging specific in a statistic. So for example, over 100 busy corporate dudes got their first six-pack, or 100 dads' lives transformed, okay, or something like that. Again, messaging specific. Lastly, we have our call to action, okay? So the call to action is going to work with the keyword that you have, because people should be able to DM you a keyword, plus an application, a VSL, or a landing page. So you can see he uses an arrow to point to it. So he has DM jacked, because that's his keyword, to transform in 90 days. And he also points towards his application. This could be your VSL or landing page if you don't. So yeah, that's everything with the bio. Let's talk about everything here. So we have our highlight circles. These are super important. We have a couple though that are, non-negotiables. First, we have like a free game folder. This is literally just a Q&A of all fitness questions, fitness and health questions. Okay. I see a lot of people do this with the Q&A, but then they have questions like, what's your favorite color? What's your favorite movie? Like, that doesn't matter. The questions should just be specific questions that these people might have, so they can come into, again, like literally a free game folder where they're just tapping through for a bunch of answers on problems they probably struggle with every day. Next, client wins. Again, establishing authority, establishing trust, showing all the people who have won using your program, working with you. Lastly is a one-on-one offer details. So this should be an offer image of everything that's included with when you work with you, all the deliverables that these people get, so they know what the service is. So that's that. Let's take a look at pin posts. So pin posts are also very important, because this is just a quick at the top. It's the first thing someone sees when they go to look at your posts, right? It's kind of like a little summary of who you are. So first, again, we have a sick, just jacked picture of him, right? So he talks, even his keywords jacked, right? He's getting people jacked. A lot of these business owners, like, that's a sick word, right? Okay, I want to get jacked. We embodied what that means to be jacked. Next, we have his fitness transformation. So they learn about him. They learn about who he is as a person, right? His character. And he's also building trust and relatability with these people by painting. He told his story. This was his fitness story in a sense right here. And then lastly, we have day in the life of a 100K personal trainer, because he's making over 10K a month. He was a 100K personal trainer. That also relates to the business people who, when they see that, they're like, oh, wait, this guy makes money. And then they come in and they're like, wait, he's also jacked. I want to get jacked and make money at the same time. So this embodies your entire life changes through holistic fitness. And it speaks very clearly by embodying who Aiden is with that whole message to a specific individual who he's targeting. Okay. Now, as we wrap this up, there's a very important message that I have for you guys. Okay. This is pretty simple. This is exponential progress, and a lot of you don't want to hear that, because there's no magic blue pill with content that will magically transform. That's why so many content creators, right? The content creators that make content on how to make content teach you ChatGPT hook generation stuff, and here's the best hashtags, and here's the best settings. All that stuff is BS, guys. The reason they're teaching that is because it sounds like a magic blue pill. So you're like, well, if I buy into their course, they're going to teach me some ultra magic blue pill that'll make me viral. But guys, this is a people game. You can't just magically make people love you. You have to foster a relationship with them. And this takes time, okay? If you're starting from absolute zero, it takes time. You need to be uploading consistently every day, not only to foster that relationship with these people who want to trust you to spend a lot of money to change their whole lives with fitness, but you need your past content to use the data to make new content, okay? I think my friend Trey said it really well. Yeah, Trey, I don't know if you watch this, but if you do, what's up? He said it really cool in one of his videos, that you're using the past data to apply to the new data, and then it's just this whole compounding thing, and I like that. It's really cool, because it's so true. You're learning from your past self, and it's just self-perpetuating cycle as you're growing up. And I have a lot of clients who literally in their third month with me finally just saw this massive rocket up. And you can kind of like see right here, this guy's like, oh, this is predictable, like, where I think I'm going to end up just in this direction. And then boom, right here, there's a massive split where it just peaks. And you're like, whoa, I didn't expect this to happen. So guys, this is a exponential learning curve that you need to break through. So keep going. Do not give up on yourselves. Keep using the past data and just keep getting better and tweaking yourself, getting better, getting better, getting better. But don't be afraid of being perfect too. Don't have this idea, because this whole thing can't start if you never start. Because if you just constantly wait to have perfect content to get in this position, you will always be in this position, okay? Because if you just never start making content, you always are a perfectionist and you have what we call paralysis analysis, or analysis paralysis, whatever you want to call it. You will never be able to experience the exponential learning curve if you never get it started in the first place. So get started. Don't be afraid of failure and take imperfect action, okay? I'm telling you, as someone who's been doing content for a long time and has helped generate over 100 million views for my clients, just start and be okay with failure. It will get better. Lastly, yeah, it reminds me of this game like Simon. I don't know if you guys like ever play this. If to kind of to go off of that idea. But at first it's like green, and you hit green, and then it's like green, red, and then it's like green, red, yellow, green, red, yellow, green, red, yellow, green, blue, whatever, right? And you just keep going, you keep memorizing the patterns. And if you mess up, you start from scratch. This is a little bit, kind of to light a fire under your butt. Not to say if you just stop making content, you'll never go anywhere again, you're done. But if you drop the ball, that's honestly one of the worst things you can do with social media. You need to keep things flowing. You need to keep going, because a lot of times, let's say if I told you it takes 10 consecutive days to start the fire of, consistent content growth, a lot of you guys go like 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, and you just keep starting back at the beginning because you keep dropping the ball, and you just, you'll then stop posting for a couple of days because you get all hyper analytical, and you just keep getting close to experiencing the curve, and then you stop. You guys need to stay consistent, okay? That's the big thing. Consistency is key with all of this, because people need to see that constant flow of you living that life for this incubator, this like whole content funnel thing, right? When we talked about all the leadership stuff about authority, trust, and likable, relatable character, people need to constantly be living in this with you to build that relationship. If you just stop and you go ghost for a couple of days, and then you start again, and then you go ghost, and then you go again, it's just inconsistent. And the other guy who's doing this 24/7, that's much more appealing to them. So guys, this is kind of the content framework. I don't know why I can't zoom out. Oh, there we go. This is kind of the content framework that Aiden, you saw him attribute a lot of his success to with online fitness coaching. Organics is king, guys. At the end of the day, don't buy into stuff where it's saying, you don't have to make content, just do ads. Or, if you use these hashtags and this post times, guys, this is a people game. At the end of the day, please, if you have to take away one thing, this is a messaging game to specific people. So learn your avatar and effectively message and target to them, and just be good at what you do, because practicing your craft and being a great coach is going to take you further than any, marketing game that I can teach you. So without further ado, my name is Max Hagan. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you liked it, please subscribe. I would love to have your subscribe. And leave a comment. Let me know what you want to see for our next video, because I'm going to do a couple more interviews like this. If you, maybe after watching all this, would like to work one-on-one with me and my team to grow, build, scale, whatever you want to do with your online fitness coaching business and fitness personal brand, there's a link to book a call with me in the description. I'll see you guys in the next video.